know that the census is due this year on April 1st? And guess what? This time we can finally count as Caribbean. This year, all you have to do is 1. Check the race box, and 2. Write in your country of birth or ancestry. You can answer by the paper form, online, or by phone. Everybody counts in Census 2020. So count as Caribbean. Yes, we count.
Hey, what's up, one and all? Welcome to the ride, welcome to the ride, welcome to Wednesday on the ride. Yeah, man, welcome to the thing. Share up the thing. As you come in, share up the thing. As they say, I share is the key word, eh? I share is the key word. So as you come and say, I share. Yeah. I share. You gotta head them up. Let me do the same thing as well. Start a watch party. Boy, I'm telling all you. Listen. Today's program is a very interesting one, right? Because we're going to really educate a lot of people on the law. Because there's a lot of things that's in law that a lot of people are ignorant about. And they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. So we have a lawyer, one of the top lawyers in Grenada, and he dealt with one of the most topical case right now. We're going to talk all about it. We have Mr. Evan Smith, his wife, and Mr. Derick Sylvester, who's going to be chatting with us today on the live. This is an exclusive. So I want everybody to go ahead and share the thing, put it on your page, and let's get ready to learn and understand the full details, the full scope of this case. All right? Everything that you're taught you knew, that you didn't know, that somebody said. No. We ain't going with hearsay. We're getting it straight and direct right now on this program. So as you come in, go ahead and share the program. Share it. Douglas, Sharon, how you doing? Maybe Joseph, big up yourself, my friend.
I should share.
So much, kid. Samasha, thank you so much for sharing. Cindy, Lacey J, thank you for sharing. Guys, remember, it's I share. I share. Say I share and put it on your page. I share, put it on your page, and also start a watch party. Let me do that as well on my end. Let me start a watch party on my page.
Yeah, because you log in.
So everybody that come in could check it out. Hey, K Dance, how you doing? Big up yourself. Start a watch party over here. Watch party time. Wendy C. Williams, how you doing? Wendy Ann, sorry, C. Maguire. Where I get Wendy Williams from? Wendy Ann Maguire, big up yourself. Thank you so much. Lydia James, I have a bone to pick with you, right? Because yesterday I was away. So my lawyer, immigration lawyer, she did the whole show for me. And I heard Lydia James say that she found I was coughing a lot, so she thought I had COVID. Nah, I just take a break. I just take a day off. Well-needed day off. But thank you guys for inquiring about my well-being. I'm fine. I don't have COVID. Tamara Phillip. Guys, when we get up to 300, we're starting the program. So the quickest we could get up to over 300, we're starting the program because I want everybody to be a part of this. The quicker we get to this over 300, we start in the program. Rena, how you doing? Rena, my neighbor, forever. No matter where you move to, you're my neighbor. Pick up yourself. Sherry Ann, thank you so much. Sherry Ann Henry, thank you so much. Hazel Ferguson. We're almost there, guys. We're getting ready to start. Christine Francis, thank you so much. Tamika, Roger, you was worried? Nah, I'm fine. I just took a break. I just took a little break. But I'm actually fine. Lydia Joseph, thank you so much. All right, guys, I don't want to take a lot of time with the intros and the big up, right? All the regulars, thank you so much for joining us on Ride Along. Whether I'm here or I'm not here, I appreciate you guys all so much. Thank you so much. As I intro the program, I told you guys that this program is a learning experience. This program will basically give you folks information about the law, specifically detailing the law, the very topical issue that happened over the last week and over the weekend. All right. So we will go right into it. We ain't sticking because we have a lot to discuss. Joining us from St. George's, Grenada, he is one of the top attorney on the island. I'm happy to say that he's my good friend. Nobody mess with me because he would handle litigation proper. Mr. Derick Sylvester. How you doing, my friend, Mr. Derick Sylvester? How are your day going so far, sir? Derick, you might want to unmute.
Oh,
there you go. I'll unmute you. Go ahead, Derick. How are you doing, Derick?
Yes, thank you, Junior. All is well on my end. I'm safe on my side. I trust that you're just as safe.
Nah, well, you're in a better place than me, Derick. I say I as much as I trying to get where you are and breathe some fresh air and be in a place that is zero COVID. You know, I'm still here in New York. I'm here in New York, and so you're doing much better than me. You're doing much better than a lot of us.
Yes, soon the borders will be open and you'll be able to come.
Hopefully, big hopefully. All right, Derick. So we have so much to talk about. And thank you for choosing this platform to give us all the information that we need to know about this particular case. So I'm going to start it off, Derick, and you take it away from there. Last week, we learned of an incident involving a family, 4 members of a family beating up on a Grenadian man. We didn't have much information about the story besides what we saw on GBN News. I'm going to play a clip from GBN, and we're going to take it back from there. This is a clip from GBN over the weekend. This is a clip from GBN over the weekend.
My husband was on his way to work in Port Judy, Sunset Drive, and he had workers about, let's say, 5 men at the back, 2 in front with him. However, when he reached on the site, he was told, one of the guys said, "Boss, you have just smashed a dog." And he was like, "What?" He said, "Yeah." Well, none of the guys stopped him, even though they know about that. Approximately about, let's say, 5 minutes after we saw a black van came up, and the person that was a man and came, white guy, came and he said, "Ask who the van belongs to." So my husband said, "I am the driver. It belongs to me." And he said, "Can I have your name and your number, where you live, and don't move because the police is coming?" So I was like, "What's the reason for that?" He said, "Well, you have just killed my dog." Then he left and he went to my husband said he's not going anywhere. And I said he's not going anywhere either. So he left and he went to carrying one of the workers back to the next site. On his way on the next site, driving, coming out in Sunset Drive, this man appeared in front of my husband's vehicle. He stopped. When he stopped, he pushed his hand into the vehicle because my husband stopped and stopped the vehicle also. Pushed his hand in my husband's vehicle, take out the keys from the car, and then whilst my husband was coming out from the car, his wife take my husband's vehicle, the door, and slam it into his chest. His son and his daughter, along with his wife and the husband, start beating up on my husband. He's taking further action. My husband is a sickly person. They had no right laying their hands. Not 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. That is not acceptable. For me, it is not acceptable, and I'm not leaving it there.
GBN also spoke with one of Smith's workers, Eriko Nicholas, who told GBN what led to this physical altercation.
We was going down to work and we driving now, and a dog just running from my side, running behind the van. Like I'm inside the van, and same time now, we run under the tire and get rolled over. And up dying, but that was in the road itself, like them being rude.
Smith told GBN her husband was ill prior to this incident and was not surprised that he was unable to defend himself. She said she was further shocked when the police informed them that a case against the family will have to be handled privately.
When the police came and take the statement from us, the question was asked to the police, what would we do concerning the physical? The word was from the police is that if we want to press charges against them, we have to take it privately. Isn't this a police matter? Isn't this a police matter? Because you're investigating already. The doctor examined him where he had pain, well, proven showing right now as the lip is swollen because of the way they hit him, and the impression was he burst it. So it caused it to swollen, he's been having pain. Right now, my husband haven't sleep because of what he's troubling with. No one seems to know what is going on with him. He's traumatized, he's crying, he couldn't sleep last night, and he's shaking like this. He can't function as work.
Both husband and wife are construction workers. GBN reached out to the Community Relations Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force and specifically to the head of the Community Relations Department, Superintendent of Police Vanny Cowan. However, a response was not forthcoming. Cherry and Blackman Stephen, GBN News. Nico Smith.
All right, again, guys, that was a news briefing there from GBN, Sharon Blackman Stephen. So, that's the news side of it. Mr. Sylvester, sir, what more do we need to know about this particular case here? Because there have been so much judgment passed based on what was said. But I'm sure that there's a lot more that we don't know to the case. Could you fill in the blanks for us and give some more information about how this whole thing transpired?
Okay, Junior, thanks for the opportunity and thanks for having me on your program. First, I'd like to start by thanking my team, the team that I assembled on Sunday to deal with this matter, and I would like to name them because there is no I in team. I was contacted on Saturday by a distinguished colleague of mine and also the family to assist in this matter. And on Sunday, I met with the family at my office together with a multiplicity of doctors, and they moved with alacrity, the type of speed that I have never seen before. And I would like to thank my staff in office, because everyone came out on Sunday, and I would name them. So we had a medical team, a legal team, an administrative team, and a technical and legal team. So the medical team, we had Dr. Kester Dragon, Dr. Justin LaRose, Dr. Augustin Panchu, and by way of assistance, we had Dr. Julie Dubois, who would provide us with a report in due course. In relation to the legal team, well, of course, myself, Ms. Hazel Hopkin, and yesterday I have spoken to Dr. Alexis, who said he would be willing to help. My administrative team, Ms. Donessa Mitchell, Ms. Crystal McLawrence, Shauna Baldio, Antonia Mitchell, Tevin Smith, Shem Buckmeyer, and ancillary staff, L. Sylvester, Jeffrey Gray, and of course my technical expert, Kyron Monroe. And it would be remiss of me, Junior, if I do not name my two private investigators just by the nomenclature, private investigators. I cannot disclose them. Let me start now. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yeah, we're hearing you clearly.
Wonderful. So let me start now by saying what we did on Sunday was conduct an in-depth factual and legal analysis into what allegedly transpired. I also had the family here with me, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, on Sunday. Upon an in-depth investigation, we recognized it was important to move expeditiously in filing a civil suit. And I'm pleased to announce that a civil suit was filed this morning at 8:30 against all 4 members of the family.
Let me just pause there real quick, Sylvester. Are we saying that you're speaking specifically today on the civil suit? Is there a pending criminal trial that would come out of this case as well, or is just civil we're talking about today?
I would speak to both. But
Okay.
I felt it is prudent that I deal with the civil aspect. I could get that out of the way, then move on to the criminal aspect. And if time permits, I would definitely like to speak to the Oscar Bartholomew case.
Okay, no problem.
I'm not hearing you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I just wanted to know how we'll segment it if we're talking about the civil or the criminal. So go ahead with the civil portion of the case.
It is important to note that the factual matrix in the civil matter would, of course, overlap into the criminal matter.
Okay.
Yes? So,
No problem.
yes, so the civil suit was filed this morning against the 4 parties, including the 2 minor children. The suit was served on the parents solely. They now have 28 days to respond by way of defense. And the civil suit, basically, we're claiming general damages for personal injury, loss and damage, including nervous shock, trespass to chattel, special damages, and other exemplary and aggravated damages, and other incidental costs. So herein lies the matrix of the lawsuit. Of course, in relation to assault and battery, we have the medical report of Dr. Panchu, Dr. Dragon, and Dr. LaRose. So it is important to note, Junior, that is where we are at in relation to the filing of the civil suit. Now I'll get to the factual matrix of the case that would have caused some concern.
All right.
Yes?
Yes.
In due course, I would introduce you to Mr. Smith, but just permit me to speak to the factual matrix.
Go right ahead.
The factual matrix is so much so that Mr. Smith has a business wherein he takes care of persons' houses, persons who are out of the country in Fort Judy and other places. That day he was going to work with his workers. He had workers in the back of his van and, of course, inside the van with him. He proceeded to Fort Judy. When he got to his work site, that's almost to the point. The men alighted the vehicle. Then he was accosted by the first defendant, who wanted information from him in relation to his identity. He took the number of his vehicle and he indicated to him that he killed his dog. So my instructions are, he indicated, no, I'm not aware of that. So he proceeded to call the police there and then. And he left. So Mr. Smith subsequently left with 1 employee. So now he is on his way out of Fort Judy. On his way out, he was stopped by the 4 defendants who went into the road. They approached him, took the keys. The first defendant took the key out of the ignition, placed it in his pocket, told him he's not leaving, demanded that the other gentleman who was sitting in the van remain seated.
Derick, for the case of identification again, could we just give our ideas to the first defendant, who's the first, second, and third defendant, just for
The first defendant
identification?
is the father. The second defendant is the mother.
Okay.
And the third and fourth defendants are the children.
Okay. All right.
Yes? Thereafter, he received blows to his face, chest. On his way out of the vehicle, the door was slammed onto his chest, and the altercation ensued. He was not in a position to respond, solely because, Junior, 7 years ago, he was diagnosed with a particular condition. And the doctor would have stated the condition in the report. I would have provided you with a copy of the report.
Yes. Yes.
He has muscular dystrophy and he suffers from ALS. So 1, he is unable to speak properly. He has wastage of his muscles. So he is not walking properly. He cannot use his hands properly. He cannot lift his hands above his head. And the doctor has indicated that that condition deteriorated over the years, from 7 years ago to the present day. While he was being beaten, he was out of the vehicle, he was beaten by all parties. The wife, the husband, and the children. While he was being beaten, he was called derogatory names, retard, and other things. The altercation ensued. What troubled me, Junior, about this, the factual matrix, is that where Mr. Smith stopped, where he was blocked, when the 4 defendants stood in front of the road, there was a construction site where the first defendant, the father, had employees, Grenadian employees. I was notified, I was instructed, and they stood and looked at that assault, and none did nothing. These are my instructions.
So the Grenadian employees, if you could go back a little bit, let me just bring everyone up to speed. You're watching Ride Along live, and we're getting through the details of the case in a timestamp manner. So what happened, right? We have the lawyer, Sir Derick Sylvester. One thing I wanna identify really quick again, Derick, and then we're gonna go into the other parts of the question.
Yeah.
We saw on GBN News that the wife gave a ball by ball review as to what happened. Was the wife on the scene?
She only came after.
She came after.
Yes, she came after. And you have to take this into consideration. And I'll introduce Mr. Smith to you shortly.
Right.
Even when we were taking the instructions on Sunday, the wife had to interpret what the husband was saying for me. So
right.
In other words, he's not fluent in speech, neither guide.
Right.
So he's not walking properly and he's not speaking properly. Many times on Sunday, he broke down in tears and we had to console him. So I say all that to say that she has been able to assist us with the instructions.
Okay.
You
said that he was called a derogatory name. He was called stupid. The names that you just listed there.
Yeah.
Did he identify who specifically, which one of the defendant called him those names? Could he identify the person or persons who called him those names?
Of course, and hence it formed the substance of the lawsuit. And the reason why, Junior, I chose to speak to you today is because once this lawsuit is filed, it becomes a public document. So
right.
That's why I could speak to the factual matrix, but I would not have spoken to it before. So those names that he was called, I'm not hearing you, Junior.
No, I'm here. I'm listening to you.
Okay. We do not have any hate crime legislation in Grenada, so I would move away from that.
Okay.
You know? But it formed the substance of the lawsuit for the purpose of exemplary and aggravated damages. And what that means, simply, damages in factually means money. So when I said earlier that I'm suing them for general damages, basically it's compensation for what allegedly transpired.
Right.
So after the beating or the assault, whatever name is being used, the police came to the scene. When the police came to the scene, one would no doubt be in fear to the police. They came to the scene because they were called by the first defendant.
Okay.
In relation to the death of a dog. They weren't called in relation to Mr. Smith calling them. Remember, Mr. Smith cannot speak properly.
Okay.
And Aberdeen, who was there, it was demanded that he remain in the vehicle.
And Aberdeen is a young man who works with Mr. Smith.
Yes.
So Aberdeen saw everything, but Aberdeen was not in a position to defend his employer.
Absolutely. Because I said to Aberdeen, well, why did you not assist? Aberdeen is not here, but he is not muscularly inclined. He is not he's not a big person. So he saw 4 persons beating on his boss, And I believe, as he said to me, he was in more shock than anything else. Maybe he did not expect that to happen. You know, persons react differently. Another person may immediately have gotten angry, step out. You know, everybody reacts to different situations differently. But be that as it may, when the police came, you know, discourse was had, medical report were issued, and the parties were asked to proceed to the doctor. Let me pause here, Junior, to state, and I could only speak from experience. Yes? My experience is that where you have an altercation that is violent and you attend the scene of a crime, recognizing what it is when you got there, there are certain things that could be done. One, you ask all the parties to come to the police station to give statements. Or two, you detain them there and then. Or, I have not seen it done where. I'm not saying it never happened. I'm not drawing any conclusions. That you attend to the scene, a man is beaten, bleeding, whatever, visibly shaken. There are complaints on both sides, and you say to the parties, okay, you all could leave and return. My instructions are there was no indication to my client to return, but these are my instructions. Be that as it may, I go back to the position, Junior, that the police would have been on the back foot, because he came thinking that, here what, I called in connection with an accident where a vehicle hit a dog, killed a dog.
Right.
And when he got there, he saw something totally different. But let me tell you something I would like to disclose from my private investigators. The first defendant is not someone who is unknown to the police.
When you say someone not unknown to the police, is it someone that was arrested before, or is it someone that works with the police?
Let me explain that to you. What I mean. He does work for the police at the Coast Guard base. So he works on police on the boats. So he knows police officers and they know him. Hold a second, allow me to finish.
Go ahead. It's an interesting topic, but go ahead.
So when he called the person in my client's presence and said, look, I needed a police officer to be here. You know, this is the problem I have. They came expeditiously. I'm not drawing any conclusion. I'm just giving you the fact and what my investigation revealed. I am not here to draw any conclusions. So I don't want anyone to say that I came to a particular conclusion. My duty here is to present the facts as I have it, because I am answerable to no one other than the God I serve and my clients. Yes? And the court, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So he's well known to the police at the Coast Guard base. And to be at the Coast Guard base, that is a secured location, you must get permission to be there to be able to work on boats or engine, because my investigation revealed further that he has applied for citizenship, both him and his wife. That's pending. That has not yet been approved. And that they're also owners of property in Grenada, among other things that I discovered. So I'm saying, here you have a man who does work for the police. So he ought to know better. I am not saying that I'm not drawing any conclusions. It cannot be disputed that he does jobs for the police in the Coast Guard base. It cannot be disputed that he brings his dinghy there and he works on his dinghy. It cannot be disputed that he doesn't normally charge the police to do the work on the vessels. And it cannot be disputed that the company that he formed, Sea Safety Service Limited, the main type of business the company carries on are, as per the company document, servicing of life raft and marine safety equipment, provision of repair services to inflatable watercrafts, and related business. So I move on from there. That's all I wanted to say, because I wanted to put everything in its proper factual context.
Right.
The reason why, Junior, persons may ask, well, why did you proceed to file the civil claim so quickly? One, my instructions were that they were non-nationals. Two, the fear I had of their absconding by whatever boat, it doesn't mean even if the airport is closed. So I proceeded to file the documentation and prepare the documentation as quickly as possible. And I got support, tremendous support from the medical professionals and of course my office staff, who remained with me in my office, in this very said office, on Sunday from 9 or thereabouts to approximately 5 p.m.
Derick, I want to go back a little bit. Because this is a lot of information. Is very, very relevant to understanding a couple things, right? Now, we did a show on earlier this week where we spoke about with another attorney, where we spoke about why was it that police did not make an arrest of this individual after it was evident that there was some kind of brawl. Something happened. In normal sense, something happened, police come, they don't ask a question. If it was Tom, Jane, or whoever else down the block, they would make an arrest.
Yeah.
Do you think that his position, being acquainted, familiar, working for the police in whatever capacity, influenced the police decision not to make that arrest?
As I said to you, Julia, when I started, I am not going to speculate. I'm just giving you the information as I have it. I am not going to speculate. I don't know what the police, what they did, why they didn't do what they did. My private investigator, the both of them, they work excellently and expeditiously to get that information for me, to provide everything for me, to get the documents in relation to the company, the land documents, the citizenship status. So I am not in a position to say why or why not. What I can say to you is that when the police came to the scene, they thought they came to deal with an accident wherein a dog died. So when the officer came, of course, it was something totally different. So he would have been in a difficult position. I mean, let's be realistic. However, an option that he had was to say, come to the police station. So right. I am not going to speculate what they should or shouldn't do. I have had clients who have done less than that, and they were arrested. I am not the police officer, but I'm saying the question to be asked is that if you enter the scene of an alleged encounter, and getting to the scene, you recognize that it is more serious than you thought or you were told it was, would your instinct not kick in? So, for example, if you were called to the scene of an accident, and when you got there, you recognize that there are persons who need urgent medical attention, what would you do then? These are questions that I would not answer. Would you not take them expeditiously to the hospital? Would you not call the doctor? Would you not apply CPR? So I'm just saying, I am not going to make any conclusions, Junior. I am going to state the facts as I have it, and the public is wise enough to draw their own conclusion. I should not be here to tell the public my tie is yellow or gold. I believe if I state the facts for you, you draw your own conclusion. Right. I would let Mr. Smith, because I've told them I do not want them to speak, but I let Mr. Smith walk. So you'd see him walk. I would let Mr. Smith stand. So you'd see him stand. I let Mr. Smith speak. So you would see him speak. And let the conclusions be drawn. And there is something that I would like to draw. I am not here to take any sides. I'm representing Mr. Smith, and that's who I'm representing, so I'll speak for him. And I'm representing him in the civil matter. In the criminal matter, it's the DPP's office, Mr. Howard Pinnock, my distinguished friend who is the DPP now, as Mr. Nelson is out, Queen's Counsel. So he would handle the criminal aspect. I would like to be associated with the criminal matter. So let the public understand that even though I'm involved in the civil matter, if I do not get the permission from the DPP to be involved in the criminal matter, I cannot be so involved.
Right.
Well, I would seek to do that. I would write to him and ask him to be associated and to be involved in the matter so I could provide him with all my statements and all the medical reports. So it is there we act in relation to this matter. So I want to handle this matter professionally. You know, I know it has elements, different elements, you know, that persons would have concerns about, you know. So one of the reasons why I took some time, Junior, before I came on the program, because I wanted to, one, to contain myself so I could restrain myself to deal with it professionally and divorce myself from all the emotions that surround me, because I didn't want to sway. And my psychologist warned me before I go on the program. You know, my good and distinguished friend, Dr. Jason Fleming, and of course, Dr. Panchu also.
Right. All right. So, you know, a couple of things I wanted to find out before you have Mr. Smith walk. You mentioned a couple of things, and I wanted to know, was that translated to you by him or told to you by him as it relates to the persons who was calling him those derogatory names? And you say the next thing I wanted to find was about the hate crime, but you say there is no hate crime legislation in Grenada.
No. Okay. There is no hate crime legislation in Grenada. You know,
was he called the N-word? Did he establish
No. Definitely not. Junior, if he was called the N-word, you'd have seen a different demeanor from me.
Right. So I wanted to know if it was going in that direction of
Junior,
hate crime.
Junior, we do not have hate crime legislation, so I don't want us to go down that route. Our constitution speaks to discrimination, and so it is not a constitutional motion. So what I have done is explore the law in relation to everything that we could possibly bring civilly. Trespass to chattel, taking his keys and not giving him back his keys until the police came. Assault, you know, and all the different heads of damages, nervous shock. What I didn't indicate to you, but it's in the civil suit, is that 7 years ago, when Mr. Smith was diagnosed with this condition, he woke up one morning and he couldn't speak properly. He can't even sign his name properly. As his condition worsened, he was suicidal, you know, and as the doctor said, even now he is suicidal. It has gotten worse by virtue of the incident. Mr. Smith said something to us, myself and all the professionals who were here on Sunday, and he said, because he speaks, but his words are slurred. He said to me, you know, he feels helpless. One, he couldn't defend his family. He could hardly work for his family. And now he can't even defend himself. And he broke down in tears. So I'm saying this case is emotional on many levels, but I have to disassociate myself from the emotions and just strictly stick to the professional aspect of things, because it's easy. It's difficult. No matter what professional you are, it was indeed difficult for me to deal with the matter dispassionately, and I've tried to do so.
All right, one question there from the chat, and then I want to, if I could say a quick word to Mr. Smith. Mo is asking, Junior asked Mr. Sylvester, besides the civil suit, what other legal procedure he has in place, knowing the Caribbean has a history of not finding judgment against foreign suspects.
Well, I wouldn't say that, you know, I wouldn't say that you don't have judgment against foreign suspects, because I have a judgment against Oscar Bartholomew well, they're not foreign suspects per se, but I'll deal with the foreign aspect of it. But there are no procedures in place that I'm aware of. You know, you see, this matter occur within the jurisdiction of Grenada. You know, so the laws that's applicable is the laws in relation to the state of Grenada. So the laws outside of the state of Grenada is not applicable. If that is the question that the person is asking. So I would need to know if that person needs further clarification. So in other words, whatever other laws that may be applicable in another country, we cannot use it here.
Okay.
There's no evidence I have before me that even if we had hate legislation that it would have fit into that bracket.
Right. Well, I don't know if you were specific in identifying the person that called him those names. Was it
absolutely Junior
1, 2,
Junior,
3, or 4?
Junior, Mr. Smith could speak, just as his speech is slurred.
Okay.
For example, he was able to tell me if it's the number one defendant, the father, the mother. He was able to tell me that.
Okay.
You know, that formed the basis of the lawsuit. You see, because I speak about the facts already, I don't want to keep going over the facts.
Right, no problem.
Other things, because there's so much other things that we have to deal with touching and concerning the matter.
Okay. All right. Do you want us to speak to Mr. Smith now or a little bit later on into the program?
No, I could use the opportunity now. So what I would do, and you let me know, because I would want to ensure that the camera is working properly. I'll ask Mr. I'll ask Mr. Smith to stand. I'll ask him to walk. I'll ask my my technical personnel to just assist him to move the chair, and then I'll ask him to speak.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me see what is the best position for me to move from. Okay, this might be the best position.
Yes.
Let me ask Mr. Are you seeing Mr.
Yes, I'm seeing Evans. Evans, how are you doing, sir?
Stand. When I'm ready for him to speak, Junior, I'll ask him to speak.
Okay, no problem.
Ask him to stand, and walk, or you normally walk. Yeah. And walk back. Yeah. Lift your hands as far as you can lift your hands. Yeah. That's the furthest you can lift his hands. Right? You can put it down now. I would like you to sit, bring the chair closer, and now I'd like him to speak.
Okay.
You see, this is a man, Junior, that suffers from serious depression. He is a young man who is married with 2 children. One is attending university. The other is in secondary school in Grenada, university overseas. He is a qualified civil engineer by profession. He once worked with Quinn and Company, Silver Sands Hotel. Then he was forced to open his own business. So he could maintain his children, send his daughter to university, because she's off island now. You know, so it is important to know that this is a man who is a hard worker, never involved with breaking any aspect of the criminal law. And what he was doing on that day is merely trying to earn a living for his family.
Okay.
So now I'll ask him to, because Junior, one of the things that I recognize from the medical reports, this man could have passed away from his injuries. And that is not a foregone conclusion. Because if he dies within a year and a day, all defendants could be, and I use the word could be, charged with either murder or manslaughter. That's if he dies within a year and a day as a result of those injuries. So that is crucial.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So now I'll ask Mr. Smith a few questions so you'll understand. Mr. Smith, could you state your name?
My name is Emhan Smith.
Yeah. Where do you live? What is the name of your wife? Yeah. Could you say something just briefly to the public, just briefly?
How are you feeling today?
Not home.
He says not so good. You understand that?
Not clearly.
Okay, good.
Not clearly.
Yes. What is the name of your business?
I don't live in Manhattan.
Okay. He says maintenance. Anyway, I believe, Junior, I have proven my point sufficiently. So now I'll ask him to return back to his original position. Also, his wife is here, so I believe I should at least just have her say hi.
Yes.
If you could just come in your chair, you could bring your chair here. Or you could stand and have her sit here.
Guys, if you just join us, we are right along live. We're chatting here with the attorney for Mr. Evan Smith. We've been speaking with Mr. Derick Sylvester, laying out the case in the civil matter of this particular case. And we're yet to talk about the criminal side, the criminal matter in this case as well. There's a lot still to learn about the direction of this case, but we get an idea as to what direction Mr. Sylvester is going with it. His wife was the one who basically articulated the entire story on the news, and she will join us right now. Hi, how are you?
Okay, let me just introduce her. Could you state her name?
Her name is Nicole Smith.
Yes, Nicole Smith, and she is the wife of Evan Smith. I would not like her to speak to the matter, so that's all, Junior, I would like to do in relation to this.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
No
Thank
problem.
you. Step over. Yes, and Junior, what I wanted, what I wanted to stress thus far, Junior, that this matter was taken up by myself and all the professionals involved on a pro bono basis. So so they do not have to pay me for that. So I use my money to do all the filings, and I told them so. And I want the record to reflect that. So there are persons who contacted me in relation to providing our finances, and I said to them, send it directly to them. Because you know what is important, Junior? And today, the job they had in Fort Judy, they were fired from that job. They were asked to depart forthwith. And when she called me, that broke my heart. So she had to get a truck to take her stuff. I don't know if she succeeded because I didn't want to ask her about it. So she no longer has a job in Fort Judy. It was a 4-month contract, and she was into the 3rd month. I'm just bringing the facts as I have it. I'm drawing no conclusions.
I want to speak a little bit about the let me get the exact term of it. It's the Dog Registration and Control Act 883B, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, because we spoke about the initial reason why the police were there was that for the killing of a dog. You have it here as a stray dog. What is the law as regulating dog owners and pets, and how they should be restrained on a daily basis?
Well, Junior, what I can tell you is this. If you're attacked by a dog, the law gives you the right to kill that dog. I had a case in about the year 2006 where a gentleman was walking in Grand Anse Beach. A dog attacked him, mauled him with his hand. He ran into the water and he killed the dog. It was a pit bull. But the Dog Liability Act speaks to dangerous dogs or dogs that have a vicious propensity. So first, we have to know what kind of dog that was killed and whether or not it fit that term. So
you have on here a stray dog. Did you identify what type of dog it is? You only have here a stray dog that was killed.
Yes, because I haven't seen the photos and I haven't had the opportunity to have a veterinarian make that determination, because I haven't seen any photo, I haven't seen the dog. But the police confirmed that the dog died.
But we don't know for a fact that if he was a stray dog. That's what I'm trying. I mean, some say it's a pet. A stray dog in Grenada, we say a stray dog, a dog that just anybody dog walking about the place.
No, I am not in a position to say so. What I could indicate to you is that from all intents and purposes, it appears as if the dog was not on a leash.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. So the term stray in this particular paragraph 77 is based on the fact that he was not on a leash, so he was identified as stray.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. No problem.
So,
No problem.
So if a dog attacks you, you have the right under the legislation to kill that dog. That's if you're attacked. But in relation to stray dogs, you should not have stray dogs if it's a dangerous dog. You know, I don't want to digress, but you know, in residential areas, dogs, especially dangerous dogs, if they're dangerous dogs, they should not be on the loose.
Right. Okay. All right. Derick, anything else you want to educate the general public as it relates to maintaining your dog? Because I read that statute and I didn't even know.
Yes,
the list of things that's there. I had no idea about it. A lot of people that have dogs right now, I'm sure they don't know either. So if you could just use that little piece of opportunity to give information about the dog legislation.
I have had numerous matters in court in relation to both civil and criminal court in relation to the issue of dogs. One, the dog should be licensed, they should be insured, they should be kept in a kennel, and there are offenses for those. So the only issue we've had in the past is that there was no insurance company that insured dogs in Grenada. So when persons were charged in relation to not having insurance, the court had to deal with the matter in a particular way. So, but by and large, there are serious restrictions in relation to dangerous dogs. And dangerous dogs, as I indicated, is not only pit bull and other dogs that because there's a list of what constitute dangerous dogs. The law also states that dogs that have a vicious propensity should also be placed on the leash or be kept confined, be monitored at all times.
Right. Okay. All right. So the charges in the civil case here, we have trespass to chattel, and we have assault and battery. Are there any other charges? I haven't gone through the entire list.
This is in relation to the civil matter, because my research indicate that in relation to trespass to chattel, there was a trespass to chattel when he went in and took his keys and kept it until the police came. The assault and battery, of course, and the resulting injuries. So all these are issues that we'd have dealt with in the civil capacity. When I move over to the criminal realm, then I would indicate to you what, to my mind, could be the possible charges based on the instructions I have. And that's the reason why I intend to meet with the DPP to give him all the documentation I have, statements, medical reports, and he would make a determination then as to what he would and wouldn't do.
Right. Are there any other or additional factual information that we could provide in this civil matter before we look at the criminal matter?
Well, none that could come to mind now. I mean, the medical report is really telling. I don't want to get into the medical report because when I read certain aspects of the medical report, it's not healthy for my psychological well-being. So I think I should move on to the criminal matter.
Okay. All right. All right. Again, guys, you're watching the in this case the claimant side of the story as it relates to the Evan Smith assault in Fort Judy, Grenada. His lawyer, Mr. Sylvester, is outlining his case. He just outlined the case in the civil matter, and we're gonna dive in a little bit with the criminal matter and get an idea as to where he plans to go in the criminal case. Go right ahead, Derick, on the criminal case.
Yes, I was reliably informed that the first and second defendant, mother and father, I prefer to refer to them as first and second defendant. They were charged for causing harm summarily, meaning it is an offense that could be dealt with at the magisterial level.
Okay.
Yes. So if it was it's not deemed as a serious offense, hence the reason why he wasn't charged for grievous harm indictably. But after I provide the medical report to the DPP, I guess he would make a determination whether or not the charge should remain the way it is or he should up the charge. That's a determination that he has to make in his own deliberate judgment. They were placed on bail, $10,000 with one surety. That's all the restrictions that was placed on them. Hence, on Sunday, I was considering filing an application to stop them from traveling. But I did not proceed with the application because I had to prove to the court when I examined the law that there was sufficient cause for believing that they were about to flee. And Monday, when I realized that they own property, they have businesses, then I left it in the hands of the investigating officers with the hope that that would have been a condition. I am not saying that normally causing harm doesn't attract restriction on travel, but it is not something that the person who's granting bail could do, because bail in these circumstances could be granted by an inspector of police in the police station or the magistrate. I do not know who granted bail. But what I do know is that he went into the police station, bail was granted to him, and he was subsequently released. But these are the charges, Junior. That to my mind, from the evidence I have, could be laid or could have been laid, because I believe the investigation is still continuing.
Right. And at any time, the charges could be upgraded. Absolutely.
And okay, you have 90 days to file a summary matter. That's a matter that could be dealt with in the lower court.
Right.
It's referred to as a small court. And you could file the matters in the high court where you have in some instances, you have 6 months for stealing, others like murders and so on, grievous harm, there's not really a time limit.
Right.
So I say all that to say that in relation to the causing harm, you could have causing harm, you could have grievous harm indictable. Of course, I'm seeing insulting language. I'm seeing threatening language. It could border threatening language, but of course, insulting language. So disorderly behavior.
What about unlawful imprisonment?
Well, unlawful imprisonment, he was physically free to leave, but what you did, you take his vehicle, so he could not have left the scene because he was driving the vehicle. But if he wanted to walk away, he didn't attempt to walk away and they restrained him. So that's a dicey area of the law. Hence the reason why I sued in the civil court for trespass to chattel.
Yes, I saw that.
You know, so I'm saying, I have seen instances where you have an altercation and you may have an altercation with the police and they throw the book at you. Assault, insulting language, causing harm, damage to property, and, you know, a multiplicity of things. But I am not the one who would go and bash the police because, one, they have to continue the investigation and do it properly. I am giving them time. If they do not do it properly, you know, I'll be the first one to say,
yeah,
you should have done so.
But at this point, Counsel, do you think that the police have done enough, given the time frame that it happened, or do you think that they should have done more? Because this has, I mean, in normal circumstances, would more have been done?
Junior, I have seen in circumstances like these, persons are detained while medical reports, persons go to the hospital. I've seen circumstances where you detain the people and you get a medical report the same night because you take the person go to casualty, you get a medical report. I've seen that. I've also seen where medical reports were given to the person to go and come back. So I'm saying there are numerous things that could have been done. In this case, numerous options that the police had. I'm saying, I'm giving you the facts. I'm not going to draw any conclusion.
Right.
If you enter the scene where a dog died and a man said to you, I was just beaten by 4 persons, the wife there, this man take my key. The police had to ensure that he gave him back his keys. What do you do under the circumstances? But you have to also look at it from the perspective that the officer only came to deal with the death of a dog in an accident. So the the measuring tape, I saw he got criticism for putting up the measuring tape. I wouldn't give him criticism for that per se, because that is what he came for. He came thinking, I'm come to deal with a traffic issue. Right. I do not believe that there is any traffic issue there, because my client said he was not driving recklessly. My client loved dogs. So I've heard that they are still dealing with issues in relation to traffic. I would be ready, willing, and able to deal with any possible charge that anyone would conceive in relation to any traffic offense for Mr. Smith. I'm not saying that they intend to, but I'm just saying let it be known that if there's one iota of thought that they're considering that my two private investigators, they've done an excellent job in getting a lot of information that I have that I would only disclose at the appropriate time.
Right. Okay. All right. So, you know, this whole situation here, when I look at it closely, it reminds me, it contrasts in an opposite way to what happened in the Oscar Bartholomew case. There we had a young man who traveled from abroad, came into Grenada, accidentally hugged a wrong police officer, and it turned out where he wound up dead at the police station. He was beaten.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we can move to that, eh? You see this bundle here? You see this bundle here?
Uh-huh.
And I've sent you a bundle?
Yes.
I am going to deal with that issue, and I want to stay within the time limit, because I know you told me we only have one hour. Right.
We at that time, but we could have some extra time. I just want to talk about the contrast, the difference of, you know, where people say the legal system. There's one legal system. Whether you're black, you're white, you're green, you're purple, you're tongue or country, the legal system shouldn't see privilege. It shouldn't see color.
You believe that?
Well, it shouldn't. I'm not saying that. I mean, I live in America, so I know. I see it.
And I travel all over the world. I've traveled most of Europe.
Right. It shouldn't, but it does. But in a place like Grenada, we'll hope that it don't, because Grenada is a place, you know, everyone there is black. Mostly everyone there is black. So it's hard to understand that.
Junior, persons who know me would know that I'm very passionate about injustice, would know that I detest and dislike anyone who look down on any person, no matter how poor. They would know that I have, one of my mantra is that I would like to be the voice for the voiceless. I didn't know that in my lifetime I would have had to actually represent someone who was factually voiceless, as in this case, a man who could hardly speak. But I detest injustice of any kind. So be it is white, black, it doesn't matter. I strongly abhor any conduct along those lines. My client has a particular view of this matter in relation to race. That's why I specifically asked him not to speak. My client has issues whether or not he has experienced any problems going in and out of Fort Judy, both him and his wife, in relation to persons who are of a different color skin. So that's why I deliberately asked them not to speak. So I'm saying we have to be careful in Grenada. And I was told to stay legal, but because you raise it, I have to raise it. In certain parts of this country, in the residential areas, persons who travel from outside and come here must recognize one thing. You must respect the laws of our country, respect our people, pay them properly, not under the minimum wage. Because if you don't, if I have to deal with it, I'll deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I see your passion. I mean, I see you step out of your legal confinement there a little bit. I see your emotion showing a bit there as it relates to injustice. You know, that should never happen. It should never happen. It should absolutely never happen. But
Junior,
knock him ahead.
Junior, I have had clients. You see, because I sit in the position where I am, I have numerous clients who have experiences that are unpleasant. So when I hear persons speak about there's no racism in Grenada and stuff, and I have had numerous clients who would have children playing and they would say, don't play with this child, don't do this, and not also, but speak to you in a derogatory manner in your own homeland. And all I'm saying is this: we're all God's children, irrespective as to your age, your height, your sex, the color of your skin, and anything I could do legally to send that message, I'm going to do it. Because, as I said to you earlier before we started, the demonstrators have their purpose. And let the record reflect that my clients supported the demonstration. They didn't instigate it, but they supported it because they understand the cause. So I wanted that to be absolutely clear. Persons have a right to protest. The law says so, non-violently.
Yeah. You know, it's a sad situation where we are right now, because as I said, you know, I lived in the US for so much time, and I've seen it, and it really pissed me off when I see people treat people like if they are some kind of superiority above certain people. And I always say it would be a shame to see that exist, where someone travel from here and go into a Grenada predominantly black and think that that same kind of racism could be prevalent. So I understand your passion again. And if there's anything like that has happened, if there's anything like that has happened, I think it should be eradicated. Now, you spoke about the person not being a citizen of Grenada. Folks were saying that that person might be on the CBI program. Could you verify that for us? And also, is that a deportable offense?
My investigation has not revealed that they're part of CBI. I deliberately did not want to call the attorney who I saw was listed as representing that person in relation to this application for citizenship, for obvious reasons, you know. So, but what I could tell you is that the both first and second defendant, husband and wife, application for citizenship is pending. So it has not yet been approved.
Right. So does that mean that is this charge or any one of the charges, both in the criminal case, is it a potential deportable offense?
Of course it is, if the parties are convicted. However, where the state would have to be guided carefully so they wouldn't make the mistake that was made before. In another matter, they must give the party an opportunity to be heard before deportation. Because there's a matter, I have a copy of the judgment. You know, I want to move on speedily to Oscar Bartholomew.
Yes.
So that person succeeded and the state had to pay monies because they were deported, and they were given the opportunity to, they had to come back because they weren't given an opportunity to be heard. You didn't have a hearing, you know, because the law, there's a principle in law which states, or the alteram partem, you give the person an opportunity to be heard.
Right.
Simply. But Junior, this problem, I'm moving away from the case now, and allow me to just speak about race in Grenada. You give me 3 minutes to do that?
Sure, go ahead.
So I am not speaking about my case now, yes?
Okay.
So I'm going to close the Evans Smith file, and I'm going to deal with the issue in relation to race in Grenada. Junior, and to the listening public, there is an issue that we have in relation to persons who come from outside, who have a different skin color, who come and reside in these residential areas and occupy leading spots in this country. And they try to treat our citizens as second-class citizens. They try to prevent persons from going to the beach, put up chain. I am dealing with an issue now in relation to a gate in Lansepine. I have dealt with an issue in the past with someone of a different skin color pushed an employee down in a swimming pool. I have seen on the court list a gentleman with a different skin color assaulted, I don't remember what the criminal charge was, a minister in government. And I would let you do that research. So I'm not saying every white person is racist, but I'm saying let the message go out loud and clear that we do not tolerate racism in Grenada. And if you're telling me the world is now looking at Black Lives Matter movement in the US, the world see George Floyd, the world see COVID, if you're not awakened to that sensibilities, to your sensibilities, to beating someone when they're defenseless. The gentleman was defenseless. He could not have responded. He couldn't lift his hand. So I say all that to say that there are persons who come in this country, and there are a lot of persons who are happy I'm saying what I'm saying, because they don't want to say it, because they believe they may infuriate their friend. There are lawyers who benefit. I benefit from alien landholding license application. There are other lawyers who benefit from that. There are other numerous sectors benefit from foreigners. But we should never let our desire to be economically better off cause us or lead us to our citizens suffering. I would prefer, Junior, to be poor and have my citizens comfortable in their own space. I said I move away from the case. So I'm dealing now with a social issue. So I'm speaking now as a citizen of Grenada. I'm not speaking now as a lawyer. So I'm saying we have to be careful how much properties we sell, to whom. We should have legislation restricting that. And we should have a no-nonsense approach in relation to persons who come into our country and treat us as a lesser class citizen. Junior, there are many police officers. There are many professionals in this country who probably looking now and are happy as to what I'm saying, because they don't want to say it, because maybe they're concerned about the dollar. But I would say it. You know why? Because I believe I was born for moments like these. Do not insult my people. Do not degrade them. Respect them. We are a peace-loving people. We're not xenophobic. And that goes to white as well as black. Goes to every person. We should treat our brother as our brother, because we are all descendants from one being. So now I completed speaking as a citizen.
Let me just say this. I'm sure that there might be one or two persons there that might want to call in. You mind if you just open the line to just 2 calls, and then we could talk about more in details with the Oscar Bartholomew case?
Yes, the Oscar Bartholomew matter is something that I won't speak on, but I'll be willing to take calls. Okay,
let's take a few calls, guys, right now. The number on the screen, 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Ask Mr. Sylvester in regards to what we spoke about in regards to this particular case before we move on to the next one. Again, the number again is 718-701-5720. Call us right now. We're going to take 2 calls. So, guys, the phone lines are open right now, so you could do so. 718-701-5720. Or Deanne Fraser, if you could also put the number in the chat there for me so persons could find. Okay, we got a caller on the line right now. Caller, you live? Where are you calling us from? Hold on. Caller, you live? All right. Caller, you live? Where are you calling us from?
Yes, I'm live. I'm calling you from US. But I'm Canadian. I just have a quick question for counsel.
Go right ahead.
Can you tell me, or can you tell us if the persons would have had, because I think the law states that one should have a permit or a license to have a dog. I think that is very clear in our law. Could you clarify that for us and tell me if you know that if you can speak about it,
Yes.
is that these persons had a license for the animal? And I'm going to listen online.
Thank you, caller.
Yes. Indicate to the caller for me. First, the Dog Liabilities Act was passed for dangerous animal. What is deemed dangerous animal? It gives you a list. So you must register that dog. So in other words, this is the list of animals that come under that group. It's pit bull, Staffordshire bull, American Staffordshire, American bull, any dog of the type known as Fila Brasileiro, any dog of the type known as Japanese Tosa, and any dog in respect of which a designation order has been made by a court. So a dog and even a dog that has dangerous propensity. So once that is the case, you ought to register the dog, and you must have a license for the dog, and you also must have insurance. And you also must have what is called a kennel license.
Yeah, and I also saw that it also speak to importing
Yes.
embryo of any of those dogs into the country as well.
Yes, a dog that doesn't fit the species in the Dangerous Dogs Liability Act would not fall into that grouping.
Okay.
It was not every single dog.
Right. Got you. We got another caller on the line. Caller, where are you calling us from?
New York.
Go right ahead, caller.
Okay, I don't have a question, but I have a statement.
Okay.
For Mr. Sylvester. I love the passion that he has for the people of Grenada. And I believe that we should have more people like that in our country. I love what he's doing and continue to do it, and all the best. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, caller.
Just to state, I hope you were on when I started, because when I started, I deliberately said that I'm answerable to no one other than the God I serve. So I'm not here to euphemize anything or to speak nice of one side and not speak nice of the other side, but to say it exactly as it is. And persons who know me would know that I do this and no other without fear or favor. Another one of my motto is fear none, but respect all.
Yeah. Caller, you live. Where are you calling us from?
Hi.
Go right ahead.
From Grenada.
Go right ahead, caller.
Yes. So I don't have a question. I just want to.
Caller, could you speak a little louder? If you could take the phone off a speakerphone and just speak directly in, so we could hear you a little bit better. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, great. I just want to encourage Mr. Smith. I just want him to know that he should keep on fighting, and he is not who they say that he is. He is stronger. He is someone. I am someone who also has a disability and living in Grenada. I had a great job before mine occurred, and it is very common for Grenadians with disabilities to be treated like we are no one. They'll put us to a wheelchair and park us to a corner like we are no one. But our lives matter too. And Mr. Smith, fight. Even if you get $1 out of it or nothing, fight. We need to set a precedent for people living with disability in Grenada, not just Black people, but us as well.
Thank you. Well said. Well said.
Doing a great job, Junior, and Mr. Sylvester as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling. Thank you so much. I believe I know who that caller is.
I wish to tell you, I know who that caller is also. Myself and her worked together at a different place at a different time.
Yeah. We're going to take one more call and then we're going to talk about Oscar Bartholomew. 718, the call is right there. Let's take this call right now. Caller, where are you calling us from?
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm calling from Florida.
Go ahead, Florida.
Yeah, I want to ask Derick a question, right? In regards to the CBI project program, where you have a lot of people from different backgrounds taking up residency in Grenada. You earlier said that there's not a hate crime bill on the books in Grenada. Are there any plans to legislate something like that? On how easy it will be to put it on the books if you have to go through a whole constitutional review or what?
No, it's very easy. Legislation will have to be passed. It would have to emanate from the Attorney General's office. And I would get to him shortly, his office shortly, when I get to the Oscar Bartholomew case. But in like manner as legislation has passed in relation to the state of emergency, with alacrity, in like manner, legislation could be passed in relation to anything. It's just the degree of importance that's given to the subject matter.
And of course, one would say that it's necessary and important at this time.
Yes.
I said last caller, but that person was waiting on for so long, so that's the final caller, and then we're gonna go into the next case. Caller, where are you calling us from?
Brooklyn, New York.
Go right ahead, caller.
I have a question for Mr. Sylvester. Will their clients be compensated for the remainder of their contract?
You're thinking like me. I mean, smile. Listen, after I spoke to them this afternoon, I haven't seen the contract. So I have to have a look at the contract. And what I could tell you is that I would leave no stone unturned. That's all I'll tell you. I would leave no stone unturned.
Okay. All right. No stones unturned. All right. So, guys, we'll close the phone lines right now. And, Derick, I want to hear about this case because this parallel each other in a different way, right? It has to do with police, but it has to do with the abuse by the police in Mr. Oscar Bartholomew case. Could you give us some details? Where is that case? It happened about 10 years ago. People seem to forget about it, but it still lingers. Where we stand on the Oscar Bartholomew case?
Junior, the reason why I sent you the bundle of documents, because I wanted to speak. When I'm speaking to it, you'll be in a position to relate to what I'm saying. Yes?
Okay.
Junior, the claim in this matter was filed on the 21st day of June 2012. No, not June, sorry. The claim was filed in this matter it would have been in, this incident occurred in December 2012, in approximately 8 years ago.
Right.
Approximately 8 years ago. What you have on the screen is not the claim. But in any event, Junior, this is what transpired. So I must put everything in its proper factual context. And I start by saying the state is responsible for the delay in this matter every step of the way. And I'll tell you why. One, after the matter was filed in court, the civil matter, that's all I'm speaking about. The civil matter was filed in court. There was an application to stay the proceedings. That application was granted. This is the reason. The reason being that if the state and the defendants were to put the defense before the court, it would jeopardize their proceedings in the criminal matter. The court granted the order and the civil matter was stayed. Yes? So the civil matter had to wait for the criminal matter to finish.
Right.
However, there was an application made by the attorneys for the gentleman, the accused, that In substance, before these gentlemen were charged, we should have a coroner's inquest, an inquiry to determine the factual circumstances surrounding the death. The judge of the High Court agreed with that and quashed the charges of murder. Despite the fact it was bad for the family, that alleviated the burden from me, so the civil matter could have proceeded. When the civil matter proceeded, defense and so were filed, I wrote the Attorney General's office in December 2014 requesting an amicable resolve of this matter. So let us meet. I'm not going to read the letter. One was written, well, I wrote one on the 21st of October 2014 to Honorable Elvin Nimrod, Minister of Legal Affairs then. He did not respond to me. I wrote another one, Junior, on the 8th of January 2015. So if you move on, you'll see the 8th of January 2015. He did not, but he responded to that one. But this is his response to me in a nutshell. And I just take you to the last paragraph. He says, in this connection, whilst I appreciate the invitation to compromise the suit on amicable terms, I consider that having regard to the matters I have just indicated, a settlement in the manner of the kind you propose would be unwise in the circumstances. Please be so advised. When a lawyer writes a lawyer like that, you know what that means. The quality of his language was strong, and he's going to compromise. So we had to proceed to trial. During the proceedings, the Attorney General's office, they were represented by Vanessa Francis Banfield Chambers. I think I would have sent that to you also. Then subsequently, there was a change of solicitor, and the AG took over the proceedings.
Right.
Then you have other attorneys representing the men. Also, Junior, on every step of the way, there was an application also to permit them time to file certain matters that they had delayed. Anyway, lo and behold, the matter came on for trial. Despite the fact I have consistently requested from the AG's office, listen, let us settle this matter amicably. This gentleman died in police custody. What could be a possible defense? At least it's going to appease the world, it will appease both sides. It will be better for the police officers. My client, the deceased wife, would be in a better position. I spoke to him up to yesterday in Canada, because the matter was heard in court yesterday. I'm going to speak to that.
Yes.
We got judgment. This matter was heard on the 17th of November 2016, and we got judgment. One person was exculpated in the civil matter. I believe that was Rodney Felix. And the court ordered assessment of damages. Junior, I filed for assessment of damages in June 2019. I couldn't get a date for that matter to be placed before the master every month. I wrote the registrar repeatedly. I even copied the letter to the chief registrar. No, I didn't copy it. I threatened to copy to the chief registrar. So you have the master coming to Grenada every month to hear an assessment of damages case. I filed this in June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. We got a date for the 25th of March. That is when I threatened to write the chief registrar. Lo and behold, on the 25th of March, well, we know what happened, the state of emergency.
Yeah.
The matter then was adjourned to yesterday. Junior, let me tell you what happened between June last year to March 2020. When I made inquiries, I was told by the registry staff they cannot find the file. They could not find the file. Be that as it may, I scanned all the documents so we can have the hearing, because now hearing are done via Zoom. And you see the size of these files. My staff personally scanned the documents in an effort to get the matter heard before the master on the 29th, which was yesterday. Yesterday, the AG office, Mr. Olu came. Monday. No, it's Tuesday. And it was a day or two ago. Mr. Olu came stating that he wants to make an application because he needs to call an expert. He can't give the name of the expert. He can't say why he want to call the expert. But what I was most saddened by is the fact that the scanned file, the 2 scanned files, the one that has the 2 applications was not forwarded to the master. Even though there was an acknowledgement of receipt by the registry, by the clerk, not the registrar. Let the record reflect the registrar does an excellent job, both herself and the deputy registrar. The clerk responded, I've received your application. It was not forwarded. I don't know. Maybe it's a technological glitch. As I said, I'm just giving you the facts.
Right.
What I could tell you is that the master, my experience with her is that she's a professional and she does her job well. She wisely adjourned the matter to the 29th of July, giving the other side the opportunity to file whatever application they want to file for whatever expert. At this stage, they want to bring in expert. I do not know, Junior, if they intend to exhume the dead body. I do not know what the expert is coming to say, what the expert is coming to do. I have an expert. He's Professor Hubert Daisley. He is a leading Caribbean pathologist. He has not been paid to date, even though I have asked the state, not the present AG, the ones before, are you willing to at least pay Dr. Daisley? Pay Dr. Daisley because he did his work. No, not a dime to that family. I am saying the state is, for want of a better word, I will not draw the conclusion. I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there.
Wow.
I'll leave it there. But I wanted to put everything up because I've seen many persons complain on Facebook. What is going on with Oscar Bartholomew? And his brother, Parent Tate, would always be posting. Every time I see it, I wonder, look, Oscar Bartholomew's mother would come to my office, Junior, every month and say to me, Derick, I cannot face another Christmas because Christmas is when I see my son, when he brings stuff for me. So I was not surprised when she committed suicide. I am just at a position whereby I feel as if I'm against every single thing. I'm against about 4 or 5 lawyers and the AG office and the state. You understand? And that's another matter again where I took it on for the family on a pro bono basis to start with, and we would deal with things as they come along. So I'm saying, that message is going out to the state. Do not treat this matter as you have been treating it in the past. You have lost the file. You haven't done anything. You're delaying applications. Why?
I guess that would be the obvious question. Why is it that they...
I'm saying I'm not drawing any conclusions. Everything I state here, Junior, if the AG want to respond, I'm willing to engage any one of them in a program and bring all my documentation. I do not beg for publicity. My job just happened. I happen to have a passion for law. I love law. That's my life. And it happens to give me this publicity. But I have been very shy as a child. So that has never been my passion to be here. My passion here is people. To ensure justice is done. In other words, I put myself in Oscar Bartholomew's position and his family. And not only that, Junior, if the civil matter was settled, we might have a much, I don't know what the result would be, a better result in the criminal matter for the policemen. Because we recognize everybody falter. I represent, at one time I did a lot of criminal work. Sometimes things get out of hand. You think I don't feel a certain measure of sympathy for the police officers? You think I don't feel a certain measure of sympathy for the family of 4? Because they can never have it easy with this level of negative publicity.
Yeah, true.
I do. But I'm saying these experiences should make us better. So in other words, the family of 4 should never do that again and should speak to his friends. about the mistake that he made, because that's how we learn in the future. You know, the state should treat this matter with some measure of decency. And whenever I write a letter, they take 2 weeks, 2 months to respond. And, you know, and that's why I said to you, I want you to leave Oscar Bartholomew for last, even though we didn't plan to speak about Oscar.
Right.
It is a deliberate attempt to delay the matter and drag it out. I'm saying, what harm is it in saying, here, we got judgment, damages to be assessed? All that means is a determination has to be made as to what quantum of compensation to give to the family. That's what damages to be assessed means. Oh, that's all it means in layman terms. Damages in law means money. So when you hear damages, it means money.
So at this point, the Bartholomew case has not been addressed. I know you said yesterday that you had the case was called yesterday. At this point, you still don't have a closure. The family still don't have a closure. The mother committed suicide because this is just ongoing.
Yes.
And the family is traumatized. Still.
Junior, the matter is adjourned. The civil matter. I saw a listing for the criminal matter coming up sometime next week or week after. The civil matter for compensation is adjourned to the 29th of July. And you know, I commend the judge who handled the matter on Monday, the master who handled the matter on Monday, because she didn't want to appear. She wanted to be very fair. She gave the parties the opportunity to file, and also her hands were tied. She didn't have the application before her. That was sent up by my office and acknowledged receipt.
Yeah. But Derick, you have your work cut out for you. You have your work cut out for you.
Junior, my work has always been cut out for me. But I was born for moments like these. I didn't intend to be so passionate, but you see, in the position that I'm in, because I have met Oscar Bartholomew's mother, his brother, his wife. When I spoke to his wife yesterday from Canada, you know, her concern was, why is this taking so long? In other words, she had so much questions that I couldn't answer because I couldn't tell her what I'm saying here now because I didn't want to say it twice, but I'm sure she's looking. So she would hear what I wanted to say to her yesterday because I couldn't speak about that twice. I hope the state is listening. I hope the state will take a different position and engage me because I've been begging them to let's sit and discuss the matter. Let's sit and discuss compensation. Instead you drag the matter to trial. The wife came and gave evidence. Parties were cross-examined. The judge had to go and write a written judgment. And I'm saying, what are you trying to avoid? The inevitable?
Yeah, kick the can down the road. You know, for a lot of people who don't understand the Oscar Bartholomew case. Yeah,
I would not sleep. I would not sleep. And I don't mean it literally. Until this matter is concluded. So if the state is of the view that they're going to keep delaying this matter, my energy level would not falter. When I think of Oscar Bartholomew's mother, that alone gives me added impetus because I remember when she came into my office the last time and she said to me, Mr. Sylvester, I can't go on. I didn't understand she meant she wanted to take her life. I just felt it was the normal, I can't deal with it. But you see, they're not in my position. They sit in their offices and they don't experience the level of injustice that come into my office every day. There are a lot of things more I want to say that I'm not saying. So I'm only saying sufficient to allow you to draw conclusions and that I could prove on paper. Because everything I say, I could prove it on paper. Because I know what, I'm a lawyer, so I know you must have evidence to support what you say.
Yeah. You know, for programming purposes, I think that's a case that we need to revisit to show people what happened, to refresh people as to what happened in this particular case, because there are a lot of people who not too clear on the Oscar Bartholomew case, and we don't have the whole time to go over the whole story. So we're gonna do a recap on the Oscar Bartholomew case and let you guys see what happened and what occurred up to this point. But that's a case we are going to be following. In fact, I want to be able to talk to the family so we could refresh people that we don't have to, you can't just push this under the rug. This needs to get highlighted And that again speak to a lot of people, they get wild up just at the point in time when everything is fresh, and then after they just forget about it. But me and you, Derick, we don't have the luxury of that. We have to keep it fresh. We have to keep talking about it. I mean, from the first case to this case, it has to be refresher. We have to keep it in our minds because we cannot forget about this. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, and we have to root it out, no matter where it is.
And Junior, let it be known, because we have a lot of political pundits. Let it be known that my desire tonight to have these matters completed has nothing to do with politics, because Junior, I have a good relationship with everyone. I have, as far as I'm concerned, I have a good relationship with. I'm not involved in any political party. So I have no issue with any particular side. So it doesn't matter who in government or who not in government, because many times I read everything on Facebook. I have 5,000 friends. I have a lot pending. So I read everything. So let it be known that this has nothing from my office to deal with politics. I don't discuss politics here. I only deal with the law. So it doesn't matter which government is in office. If there's an issue that I have to address, I'm going to address it. And all I'm saying is that the persons who playing fast and loose with the justice system, stop it. Persons who playing fast and loose with court matters, stop it. Persons who try using all different means to delay matters, stop it. When the Chief Justice passed, once the CPR 2000 came out, the reason for that was to avoid delays. And delay has been avoided. Civil matters now being completed very quickly. But when you have those machinations, those administrative machinations, then it reflects bad on the court system.
Yeah.
So and so you need more independent voices, Junior, more persons to speak when things are wrong.
True. When you speak on cases like that, people afraid bad name and they're afraid people call them on Facebook.
Junior, I'm fearful of nothing. I have no difficulty with criticism. I mean, if you like me, that's okay, but it's better if you respect me. But I have no difficulty with criticism because, my father said to me and my mother said the same thing. Once you know you're speaking the truth, you don't have to hide to say so.
True.
And I don't want to, if it came across as if I bashed the police, let it be known that myself and the commissioner, we have a good relationship. I think he does a good job, but he has a difficult task. Everyone in leadership position has a difficult task. When I departed from PSC, that's the last appointment I did. Appointed the commissioner of police. His intelligence, his ability to sift through. But when you're the leader, everything that happened, I take the blame. If a mistake is made in my office, they're not saying my office attendant. They're saying Derick. So I say all that to say, in this country, in anywhere, we must be fair and fearless. If the Grenadians who were there with Mr. Smith had stood up, that Mr. Smith would not have gotten that quantity of blows. But you know what? Silence, Junior, aids the oppressor. Silence aids the oppressor. So when you see persons remaining silent on issues, they're much the problem.
Yeah. Listen, Derick, I appreciate your hard work and dedication on these cases. I want you to continue in what you're doing, because without you, without your voice, without your presence, a lot of this stuff will never be ventilated, and you do it with such passion. I want you to keep us abreast on this particular matter right here involving Mr. Smith and the family.
I'll tell you, Junior, I wouldn't want to be speaking on the matter too often. I like to speak on it when it's close to completion. I mean, I spoke on the facts because that is already before the court and it's in the public domain. So when it was filed, I know persons would have received copies of the documents by virtue of it being filed. So, but definitely rest assured, when there are issues to be addressed, I would address them.
Yes, yes. And we thank you so much. And Mr. Smith and Miss Smith, good night. Hope you guys have a yes, Evans. Hope you feel better. Take good care. And there's also a lot of psychological effect after something like that. And I know that you have a psychologist there that is taking care of him, because talk about the suicidal and all this other stuff. It's tough, and I understand what he's going through at this point. So take good care of him, and I know you have a whole team behind you. Thanks so much for your dedication and your office working really hard in filing this case in record-breaking time, Mr. Sylvester, and we appreciate your time and dedication as always.
Thank you, Junior.
All right. Yeah, guys. So, Derick, before you go, any last thing you want to say before we wrap up? Sorry.
No. Just to state that one, I hope the message went to where it was sent in relation to all the matters that I spoke of, in relation to Mr. Smith, as he said to me, he's not inciting violence. All he wants is change. Mr. Smith's son is immensely affected. Dr. Panchu has to be seeing him. His son is a 13-year-old boy, immensely affected by that incident, that he has, so much so that I don't want to get into why he's affected and how much Dr. Panchu has to delve to ensure that he stays focused. And amidst all that, Mr. Smith said to me on Sunday, he said, "Mr. Sylvester, please tell my son," in his garbled voice, "I want him to love everyone." And that touched us in that room. Do not hate. And if that message could come from Mr. Smith, who was just assaulted, then I believe all we have to do is respect each other. We don't have to like each other. We don't have to like everyone. But at least if I respect you, I think that is sufficient. As I say, everybody would like me, and I'm not here for everyone to like me, but if everyone respect me, at least I would have achieved my task. Because when you have matters in court, some people wouldn't like you. If they lose, if they win. What I could assure you is that I would do the best I can until the good Lord calls me home.
Yes. Well said there, Mr. Derick Sylvester. Thank you again, sir. Really appreciate your time.
I want to get so passionate.
Derick Sylvester. Again, guys, we had many cases that came on the show, stories I should say, that came on the show before, and Derick handled these cases for me. Some of them, well, most of them, all of them actually pro bono. So, boy, I don't know. Derick have a special kind of love. They say he looked just like Malcolm X. Yeah, he has that fire. Yeah. You never know, probably family from Ladique too. Who knows? So thanks to Derick Sylvester. Thanks to the team that bringing all of this information together. I know he has so many people that work in his office to make sure that this case was done, presented in such a quick time, and they did it. So we're just waiting right now to find out where it goes from here. Guys, listen. As I said earlier, we have to understand, whether you're black, green, purple, or yellow, you should never take matters in your own hands. And I hope that the family learned from this. And I hope all of us, if ever placed in a situation like that, do not take matters into your own hand. The repercussion could be very, very bad, sometimes even deadly. All right? Thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for being a part of our program today. Don't forget, join us tomorrow. My guest, Natasha Wilson, my co-host, Natasha Wilson. We're going to be talking about a range of issues, especially dealing with the issue affecting what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago right now. We're going to have a guest that brings us up to speed and get the latest what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago, the rioting and the police situation there. It's a mess. All right, so tomorrow we're going to dive into that. You have an appointment with me tomorrow. Don't forget, 6 p.m. Before you leave, I want you guys to go ahead and like the page. Hold on, I have a call coming. I was going to take it. Hear what they got to say. So I can take this call. Let me hear what this caller have to say before I wrap up. Caller, go ahead.
Hello.
Hey.
Yes, hello. I just want to have the host advertise the GoFundMe page. to
Okay.
help the family.
Was the GoFundMe page set up by the family?
No, it wasn't, but it is an association with the family and the attorney.
Okay, all right. So I wanna verify that, and then we're gonna advertise it. So send it to me. Let me verify everything, and then we're gonna promote the GoFundMe page. Okay.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
Right.
All right, cool. All right, that's it. That's all I have. Catch you guys tomorrow. Thank you, Kibbs. Thank you, Deanne Fraser. Hey, Vic. Pick up yourself. Thank you for being now an avid viewer of Ride Along. Thank you so much. Who else we have? Oh, bingo! Yeah. Gotta tell you guys about the bingo, guys. Listen, we have a bingo. We have our own bingo now. Our bingo game. Our next bingo game is gonna be on the 25th of July. That's our second bingo game, right? Anselm Douglas is gonna be performing live. Yes, Anselm Douglas will be performing live, and we're gonna be giving away $500 cash, an Apple iPad, and an Apple Watch, iWatch. So that's on the 25th. Tickets only $10. You can get your tickets right now. Go to rabingo2.eventbrite.com. It's a virtual bingo, but it's real fun. It's real fun. The first one last week was a lot of fun, guys. Everyone enjoyed themselves. So go get your tickets right now for the Ride Along Bingo. $500 cash, an iWatch, and an iPad. Anselm Douglas will be performing live, plus other artists, performers, and top DJs. Get your tickets now for the Ride Along Bingo, July 25th. And Mavis, Mavis, as I tell you, next time you know what to do. Kibbs on your own. And again, guys, get your tickets right now. It's rabingo2.eventbrite.com. That's rabingo2.eventbrite.com. We'll paste the link right there so you guys can check it out. On Friday, Friday, it's Ride Trivia Friday. Ride Trivia Friday. It's Ride Along Trivia interactive game on a Friday. You guys got to be here. Check it out. All right. That's all the time I have for now. Don't forget, if you have a story to tell, we want you guys to share it right here on the ride. Inbox us right there. Ding, 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 ding. Inbox us and share your story with us. You could share it via email. You could share it via WhatsApp. All right. Same number, 718-701-5720. You could share it there as well. Also, we want you guys to be a supporter of Ride Along. We do this thing here every single day, and we rely on the support of community to make sure that we could continue. So there's a little button on the Ride Along page called Become a Supporter. I want you guys to become a supporter of Ride Along Live. Click on Become a Supporter. We thank you. We appreciate you. Become a supporter of Ride Along Live right now. If you have a business you want to advertise, you can support us that way as well. All right. Thank you, guys. Pearl, Modest, pick up yourself. Thank you, guys. Peace out. Bye-bye.
Hey, did you know that the census is due this year on April 1st? And guess what? This time we can finally count as Caribbean. This year, all you have to do is 1. Check the race box, and 2. Write in your country of birth or ancestry. You can answer by the paper form, online, or by phone. Everybody counts in Census 2020. So count as Caribbean. Yes, we count.